Cauliflower stew. Traditionally in the Arab world, we have a lot of our meals are either stuffed cabbages, stuffed whatever, or a stew with some rice. This is the first stew recipe I'll be sharing with you, and honestly, I don't know why it took me so long. Stews are an integral part of our cuisine, and when people ask me what's Palestinian food like, I usually say stew and rice, because we have a stew for most veg and we call the stew after that veg, and this stew is after the cauliflower. We just call it the cauliflower meal. Zahra. This recipe is wholesome, it's tasty, and it is super easy. So you would be absolutely crazy not to make it, because believe me, it is insanely good. Hey everyone, welcome to Jude's Kitchen. I'm Jude, and today I'm going to teach you how to make cauliflower stew. This recipe is, as I said, easy, simple, delicious, and something about the taste of garlic with the taste of lemon goes so nicely with that beautifully cooked cauliflower, which we roast first, so it's a bit crispy as well. Oh my god, this recipe is literally to die for, and if there's one recipe that I'm feeling really down and want to pick me up, this is the recipe I make, because as I said, it's easy and it is so comforting. Just reminds me of my parents and of home. And yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, then please hit the button down below, because I will be posting new delicious vegan Middle Eastern recipes every Wednesday, so make sure you stay tuned. So first we're going to start with chopping the cauliflower. You want a medium-sized to a large cauliflower. Really, the more cauliflower the better, because it's the star of the meal. We have a lot of meals in Palestine that we usually call just the cauliflower meal, the potato meal, something like that. Even though we use cauliflower in other meals, but this is the cauliflower meal. I think it's usually like when you have a stew, so this is the cauliflower stew, I guess. So we're going to chop the cauliflower not too small, because you still want the cauliflower to have like good chunks, and even if they don't cook completely in the oven, so we're going to roast them first, we're going to stew them with a stew, as I said. Alright, that will do. So now we just want to whack them in a pan and just cover them with salt and oil so they can crispen up. You want to whack them in the oven on gas marker number 5 for half an hour to 40 minutes, just until they're golden brown. So let's start with the garlic. I'm going to be using garlic in 2 different stages. So I'm going to put what I need for each stage in a little bowl so that I can just whack them in when it's time. And you want to use 1 garlic. That's for the rice. And then for the first stage, you want to crush 2 garlics. Alright, so that is for the first, this is the first garlic stage. So the second one, you're going to be a bit shocked, but in a lot of our meals in Palestine, we use a whole, not clove, what is it, a whole head? A head? Oh god, I hope I'm not just translating it straight from Arabic, because we call it ras, which means head. And I'm going to teach you how to make ti'lay. Ti'lay is something we always add in our stews. It's basically a head of garlic with some coriander. You fry them up and then you add them in the last stage of the meal, and that is what gives it such a nice taste. It really does make all the difference, especially in dishes like mlokhiyeh, which is, you guys probably wouldn't know it, but if you've been to the Middle East, you probably do know it. Mlokhiyeh is this green, it's kind of like a spinach, I guess. We make it kind of like into a soup, and then we add it to rice, but some people just have it on its own with bread. But you have it with either bread or rice, some carbs of course. And if you don't add the ti'lay, it really does make it taste not nice. It's crazy how much that one step makes literally all the difference. Just to recap, we want 1 clove of garlic for the rice, 2 cloves for the first stage of the meal, and a whole head for the last stage. I know it sounds complicated with all the stages, but believe me, this is a very easy and simple recipe. Watch the video until the end, and I guarantee that you will know exactly how to make it. And if you have any questions, please don't forget to ask in the comment section. You need 1 to 1.5 lemon. I'm going to use because I love it lemony, and if you love it lemony, keep adding lemon until you think it's lemony enough. If you don't love lemon, then also keep adding lemon until you think it's enough. Right, and now we want to do the chili. So I'm going to use half a chili just because I'm not very good with spice, but if you're someone that likes with more spice, just add more. And if you don't like any spice, don't add any. But I think a little bit, or add just a little bit less, just a little bit, really helps give the food the taste it deserves. We want to chop them real fine and then crush them with the garlic mix. You also want to chop a bunch of coriander. Don't worry if you don't have any, as dried coriander will do the job. So just chop a bunch of coriander real fine, real good. How to make rice the Palestinian way. One thing about making rice in Palestine is that we always wash our rice before. So wash your rice 3 times and then leave it to soak for a little bit. You want to get all that starch out because you don't want it to all clump together. You can see that the water starts getting clearer every time. Now just leave the rest to soak for a little bit. Sometimes we leave it to soak for an hour. If you have other stuff to do, then soak it and go do your other stuff. So for example, in this case, you could have started the rice and then started prepping up for the cauliflower meal. So done the cauliflowers, and then that way you'll give it a bit of time to soak. And now we want to start with prepping up for the rice. So you add a little bit of oil. Traditionally you use olive oil, but I know that olive oil is the healthiest oil until it's cooked. So I would recommend you use sunflower oil or rapeseed oil. So now you want to add the garlic and a bit of cardamom. Cardamom is a staple in making rice. And a little bit of soy. So I want to fry all of these together. So I'm doing 1 cup of rice. Now we're going to add more water to it. So you want it to be 2 centimeters above it, and you don't add boiled water, you add normal water. Once it starts boiling, uncover it. On a medium heat, you want to add 2 cloves of garlic and the chili that we prepared earlier. Of course, you want to add a little bit of oil first. Right, once you want to add the cauliflower that you already roasted in the oven. Now you're going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of allspice, a sprinkle of salt. Now if your cauliflowers didn't have the chance to brown that much in the oven, just brown them a bit more here. I think mine are a bit too brown. They were looking colourless and then all of a sudden they were black. And now we're going to add boiled water. Again, 2 centimeters above it. It already smells amazing. Now we want to cover it and leave it for about 15 to 30 minutes. It really depends. If your cauliflowers were already really cooked from the oven, then maybe they don't need that much. So now I'm going to put this on a low to medium heat and just leave it. The most important thing is to not mix it. Don't keep mixing it. Maybe mix it once or twice, but if you keep mixing it, it's all going to get smudgy together. And the main thing about our rice is that usually it doesn't smudge together. It's all like every rice to its own. And now we want to do the تقلاية. As I said before, the تقلاية is an integral part of our cooking. It's added to every stew we ever make. So you want to add the whole head of garlic alongside the coriander you chopped. As I already said, if you don't have any fresh coriander, just use 1 teaspoon of dried ones. So leave it to cook for a little bit until it gets nice and brown. And now once we're done with this, all we need to do is add it to that pot, leave it for 5 minutes, then we're going to add the lemon juice, leave that for 2 minutes, and then it's ready. It's such a simple stew. A lot of our stews are really simple. As for the rice, as I said, only stir it once or twice. Make sure you're using a non-stick pan and it should be ready according to what the packaging says. Some rice is ready in 10, some need 30. Make sure it's completely dry at the end. Don't keep adding water as we don't want to strain it at the end or anything like that. Once it's ready, it'll be ready to serve. And now, all we need to do is add the lemon. Just add like 1 lemon, and then at the end, every person can add more lemon if they don't feel like it's lemony enough. And now just leave it for 2 minutes and then we're done. And we're all done. Don't forget to sprinkle it with some coriander at the end and add some fresh lemon if you don't think it's lemony enough. And as we say in Arabic, صحتين وعافية. Don't forget to tag me or send me a picture if you do attempt to make this or any of the other recipes. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, because I will be posting new delicious vegan Middle Eastern recipes every Wednesday, so make sure you stay tuned.